What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got the weekly refresh for Destiny 2. It's the 17th of December, so time's flying by. We've only got one more reset after this, then it'll be Christmas, then of course 2025, which is bound to be an interesting year for Destiny. To the matter at hand though, this week's reset, we do get a patch for the game, the last one of the year as far as I know, so we'll round up the patch changes right here, as well as some additional updates from Bungie, the continuation of the Dawning for 2024, and that means we get an Eververse refresh, vendor updates, plus we'll cover rewards, key things to know about the reset this week, and a handful of other items in the videos. So guys, if you enjoy this one, feel free to drop us a rating down below. I'm trying to stay in good spirits despite the feels around Destiny at the moment. So if you want to show some love, that is much appreciated. But otherwise, let's get into it. Firstly, the Dawning continues this week. As we've mentioned in other videos, Bungie have offered a handful of fixes and updates for the event. We've also got a patch today. We'll touch on the patch notes in a moment, but next week will be the final week of the Dawning. So as always, the standard heads up, get everything done that you want to get done in the next fortnight. For the moment though, there's plenty of time to work on that stuff if you are. Next up though, we have patch note changes for the update today. This is patch 8152. There was a tiny bit of extra downtime, but things seem to be working now. So for the changes and Tomb of Elders, they fixed a bunch of issues. Ones where players could join Contest of Elders after the final encounter had been completed. Another where one of the bonus chests during Contest of Elders would only reward Glimmer. And one where sometimes only 5 out of 6 explosive tanks would spawn during the spider tank encounter, which caused it to soft lock. So those are good fixes. For Onslaught Salvation though, they reduced the number of visual and sound effects in the Cabal boss rooms. Then for Vanguard Ops, an issue where the inverted spire was disabled in the playlist, as well as the issue where Lost Sector weapons would not drop on certain days. So some good fixes on that front. But for gameplay and investment, of course, we get the changes for Revenant tonics. So Legendary tonics now 100% guarantee their specific reward. On top of that, Legendary tonics now increase the chances of obtaining the specified gear from the activity they are made for. And they've increased the base duration of tonics across the board. Uncommon lasts 40 minutes, Rare 60 minutes, and Legendaries will last 80 minutes. But then we have Hunter Exotic Armor here, and they fixed an issue where Knucklehead Radar was applying its target marking to players instantly on hits, and it should now only mark players when breaking their shield, and functionality otherwise remains the same against combatants. But very finally, for High Ground, they say the damage bonus against players has been fixed and the perk re-enabled. On top of that, they've increased the height differential required to activate High Ground's damage bonus against players by 150% when using a primary ammo weapon. Then for weapon crafting, they fixed an issue where trying to craft a Garden of Salvation weapon without its pattern would show an incorrect dialogue. And for abilities, the Sentinel Shield has been fixed, so that's the bug that was unintentionally multiplying Sentinel Shield damage, and they've increased non-champion PvE combatant damage by 44%, and increased champion PvE combatant damage by 15%, so a couple of small buffs alongside the fix. And finally, for Spectral Blades, they increased non-champion PvE combatant damage by 66%, and champion PvE combatant damage by 30%, so couple of small buffs for some abilities right there. That's the bulk of the patch notes, but I'll link them down below if you want to check them out. Random thing to mention here, if you don't want to spend silver on this ghost shell, the wintering neighbor shell, then don't do it, because apparently it'll be sold for Bright Dust next week, according to the rotation. Now, we may as well look at Eververse right here, not pending any other breakages. On the front page for Bright Dust, we have the Winterview shell, Exotic Ghost, which is available for 2850 Bright Dust. Very lovely Traveler stuff there. We also have the Frosty Friend multiplayer emote available this week, so we'll have a quick preview of that. As always, the multiplayer emotes tend to be pretty expensive. Looks like quite a cool one though. 4250 Bright Dust, and then there is the Snowflake projection, a ghost projection there for 1500 Bright Dust. So that's what that looks like. And for shaders on the front page, we've got Dawning Celebration. As always, these are 300 Bright Dust. Additionally, there's the Celestia shader for the Dawning available this week as well. But moving over to the main Bright Dust section right here, we've got the Get That Bread exotic emote, which is available for 3250 Bright Dust. Pretty funky stuff. Additionally, the Graceful Spin legendary emote is up for 700 Bright Dust. Very elegant indeed. And then we've got the Hard Packed Shell exotic ghost right here as well. That one's 2,850 Bright Dust. The Festive Stag, which is a new one this year, as far as I know. This one's up for 2,000 Bright Dust. Another new one is the Glowmobile Exotic Sparrow. Let's have a preview of that. Pretty interesting. That one's 2,500 Bright Dust. And then we've got the ornament for Hardlight, the Brumal Dawn Dawning Ornament for 1,250 Bright Dust this week. So let us know your thoughts, but Candy Cane Projection is also up for 1,500 Bright Dust. And for the second page of shaders, we have Dawning Brilliance up first. Once again, all of these are 300 Bright Dust. There's Aniline Shock as well, which we often see during the Dawning. And then there's Dawning Celebration and Celestia, once again, on the second page. Those are also on the front page. Finally, though, we have the Snowy Entrance Transmat Effect for 450 Bright Dust. We'll have to preview them twice. There's also the Sweet Entrance up for grabs right there. And very finally, Peppermint Burst is available this week as well. So let us know your thoughts on the Eververse inventory and if you plan to pick anything up. Next up though, why don't we say a quick hello to Banshee in the tower. For the featured weapons for the moment, we've got the Revenant Grenade Launcher, which has got Envious Assassin and Explosive Light. Bit of a counterintuitive role, but nearly a pretty good one there. We've got Peace of Mind with Perpetual Motion and Vorpal Weapon as well. Then the Jararaka 3SR with 4th times the Charm Golden Tricorn, as well as the Imperial Decree, which has Threat Detector Swashbuckler, and finally Funnel Web, which is auto-loading and Frenzy. So a couple of okay weapon rolls right there, perhaps for newer players. Finally, for the vendors though, let's say a quick hello to Shader 1 in the annex. We've got the Tangled Web set of gear, if you still need to add that to collections. But for shaders, there is Gold Leaf available up first. These are 10,000 Glimmer. That actually looks alright with this armor set. Additionally, there is Flowers of Io, an older Destination shader from back in the day. And finally, New Monarchy Allegiance is available this week as well, all for 10,000 Glimmer. Some final content mentions for the week though, and the Nightfall is the Arms Dealer, with the Azumi RR4 being the featured weapon, and Bungie have said this is the last week to get the Adept version of Azumi for a little while. They'll probably bring it back in the future, but if it's one you haven't picked up previously, now would be a good week to go after it before it's taken out of the rotation. Otherwise, Starcrust is the exotic mission, so if you never picked up the Wishkeeper, or if you need to grab any of the upgrades for it, all of that stuff can be done this week inside of the mission. And then we've got Deepstone Crypt for the featured raid with the Eyes of Tomorrow. That is totally farmable this week, so something else which might be useful. Then there's Root of Nightmares with the conditional finality, also farmable, as well as the rewards from the Prophecy Dungeon and Ghosts of the Deep, where we can pick up the Navigator, of course. So if you're feeling inspired to try and grab any of those rewards, there'll be reasonably good chances to pick them up this week. Otherwise, we've got the Lost Sector rotation. So today, we have Bay of Drowned Wishes in the Dreaming City. Then we'll move over to Chamber of Starlight for December 18th, before returning to the EDZ with the Quarry on December 19th, Excavation Site on December 20th, then we'll get the 3 Pale Heart Lost Sectors, Broken Deep on December 21st, Blooming Deep for the 22nd, and the Forgotten Deep on the 23rd. And then we'll have a Christmas Eve weekly reset, so I'm sure it'll be a pretty normal week in the game, but I'll keep you posted on all of that next week. For the moment, guys, if you've enjoyed the video, a rating really does help us out. Let us know if you're still working on any Dawning stuff or other things that are up this week. And get subscribed as well if you still want to be kept up to date with Destiny content. But otherwise, cheers for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.